Hello, welcome to another episode of Learning, Growing, and Sharing with Oyinkansola. I'm really excited to be recording. So today I will be talking about dating. Yes, dating. I did a question tag on Instagram asking people to, ask me questions about what they would like to know regarding my dating experience. So I got a few questions and decided to respond through a podcast episode. So stay tuned, learn, and share also. All right, so question one, it says, how do you decide to date? Are you dating multiple people? What is dating? All right, so I know dating can mean a lot of things to different people. So for this podcast episode, I will be defining dating as when a male and a female commit to an exclusive relationship so as to get to know each other better and consider if marriage would be a good thing for them. So they are assessing if they can proceed to get married. They get to know each other better and assess if they can proceed to get married. Okay, so next bit of that question says, how do you decide to date? Okay, so deciding to date is a personal choice, right? What I consider wouldn't be what everyone else would consider. So I have a few things that I used to consider before deciding to date. You need to understand what it means to commit to a relationship. You need to consider if you are ready to have an exclusive relationship that could lead to marriage within a reasonable time. Is marriage something you'd like to consider at this time? Are you ready to put in the work for a successful relationship? And then, have you prayed about it? Do you feel at peace considering dating at this time? So those are some things that I consider before deciding to date. Okay, and then the third part of that first question says, are you dating multiple people? Well, based on my definition of dating that I gave at the beginning of the podcast, the answer is no. I am not dating multiple people. If it's just getting to know somebody to consider if you want to get into a relationship with them, yeah, you could probably assess more than one person, but you cannot be exclusive with more than one person at a time. So no, I am not dating multiple people in the sense that I am not in a committed relationship with more than one person at a time. All right, so question 2, it says, what qualities do you look for in a man? Okay, so I am a Christian, so one important thing I consider is the man's faith, right? Is he a believer? Does he believe, the same things that I believe? There are major tenets of our faith that we have to both, agree on. Can I see the evidence of his relationship with God? Are his actions actually consistent with the faith he professes? So those are some of the things that I look out for in a man. Is he a responsible person? Is he matured in his thinking? Does he actually have a good character? How does he treat other people? How does he treat me? Is he respectful? How are we good? How good was our friendship, right? So those are things that I consider and look for in a man. Are we actually good together as just friends, even before trying to take it up a notch? Okay, so you should have non-negotiables, right? So for me, I said it's really important that he's a believer. He has to believe in God. He has to believe in the things that I believe about God also. There are some things that I wouldn't compromise. So yes, have your non-negotiables and you can look for that in your partner. It goes both ways for a male and for a female. Things you should, have that you wouldn't compromise when looking out for a partner. Okay, so the next question, it says, how did you meet him and how did you guys start dating? So how did it start and how did you meet him? All right, so I met my boyfriend at church actually. Yes, so prior to that, I'd actually always, avoided getting too close with guys at church because it's a family church and you don't want any awkward moments and all of these things. But I did actually meet him at church. I saw a fanboy across the auditorium. I was like, this boy is fine. So yeah, we met at church and we became friends. I actually started chatting with him on Twitter, and from Twitter we moved on to off Twitter, WhatsApp, and calls. So we actually started off as just church members and then moved to being friends, and then from friends we decided to commit to a relationship. So yeah, that's how it started and that's how I met him. Okay, so next question says, what made you decide to date him, and how do you know he was the right person? Like, how did you know he was the right person, and what made you decide to date him? Okay, so like I said, we were friends and our friendship was good. I had gotten to know him better than when we had actually just met. And he seemed like someone I wouldn't mind being married to. I mean, I prayed about it and we talked about it, and I was at peace. I had really strong feelings for him and he liked me too. And we're adults, so we decided to consider dating. So we were friends for quite some time before actually proceeding to dating. And how do I know that he was the right person? So, having read books, it says that there isn't actually that myth of, oh, there's one person for you, or it's just this one right person. So, the right person would be the person that you have chosen to be with, right? That's the right person. And being a believer, right? We are both led by the Spirit of God. That's my boyfriend and I, right? So, if we're going to make a decision, it's expected that we would, talk to God about it. And if we feel at peace and we feel like, okay, yes, God is on board with this, then we can proceed to get to know each other. Remember, we're not like getting married on day one. So it's a relationship that we're committing to. And over time, you get to know each other better. Over time, I've gotten to know him better. And this is somebody that I can consider getting married to. It's somebody that I see myself, that I'll be happy spending the rest of my life with. So yes, that's how I know it's the right person, because it's the person that I'm with and I am at peace and I feel like God is pleased with my decision. All right, so next question. It says, how has the relationship been so far? It says, how has your blissful relationship been thus far? Give us specific, any argument, any fight whatsoever. So I mean, from the question, it says, how has my blissful relationship been? So yes, it has been blissful. The relationship has been pretty good. At the beginning, I was a bit scared because I'm like, what if we end up breaking up? We're really good friends already, and I don't want to have to mess this up. And he also had those fears too. So we were really careful before deciding to make this, friendship move to something more romantic. But yeah, the relationship has been really fantastic. I've grown, he has grown, we've both changed for the better. We've, gotten to know how to love each other better. We're also getting matured in our relationship with God. So that's making our own romantic relationship also better. We involve God. At the beginning, there were just so many questions I didn't have answers to. But now I have clearer answers and the relationship has been really, really great. Yes, we've had arguments and we haven't had like any fight. I know one time like during the relationship, I was like, oh my God, when are we going to have our first fight? And I mean, but yeah, so we did actually have our first fight and it was more about not communicating expectations. So he's someone who doesn't really like to drive. And I, on the other hand, don't really like using cabs or taxis. So we had clashes about how to move around when we were going out together, right? I would prefer he was driving, but he would prefer that we're using a cab, all those kind of silly things. So yeah, we argued about that. And one time, the biggest argument about that I can remember right now is when he actually offered to get me a car home, but I really wanted him to drive me. But I didn't let him know at the beginning of the date. And by the time we had actually ended like our dating session at that venue, it was really late. So I wanted him to drive me home. And he's like, oh, I didn't know I was going to drive you. I'm like, I didn't plan for that. And I'm like, well, I'm asking. So anyway, so he decided to drive me home. And it was his first time driving me home. And it was late. So he wasn't really familiar with the roads. So he was making lots of remarks in the car and how all the traffic had been and all that. So I wasn't really pleased. I'm like, I just wanted more time with you and all that. So yeah, it was more about not communicating expectations. So it wasn't a big fight. But I think that's the first time that we actually saw each other not so happy about a decision. So yeah, other than that, we've had like other times when we disagreed. And mainly it's because we didn't communicate our expectations clearly. So yes, I mean, we're humans, and it's likely you will get in arguments with your significant other. Okay, so next question. It says, do you think it would lead to marriage? Well, yes, I mean, by God's grace, I do believe it will lead to marriage. We're putting in the work, and we're also praying about it. Like I said, we're both believers, so we are led by the Spirit of God, and we're doing what we believe is right and considering marriage. So it's not just dating to pass time, it's actually dating with the intention to see if we can get, married later in future. So yes, I believe it will lead to marriage. I mean, God willing, really, by God's grace. So next question, it says, it says, when is the Ibeyawo? So Ibeyawo means wedding. When is the wedding? Well, the wedding will happen when it happens. So when we're ready, we will get married. There's no date yet. Okay, and the last question says, tell us everything. I mean, I can't tell you everything in a podcast episode, but what I can say is the experience has been really great. I've learned so much, and he also has learned so much. Like I said also, because our faith is something really important to us as individuals, it actually reflected in our own dating experience. So we've grown, we're putting in the work, and it's not just like we're together, oh yeah, jolly. No, we actually talk, we get to know each other better than when we're just friends, and we keep involving, our families, and at the right pace, really involving, making our community of support also larger. So that's it. It's been really great. I've been happy dating. Like I said on my Instagram, actually, this would be our 13th month together. So it's been really fantastic, and I look forward to many, many more months being together. Okay, so in conclusion, really, if you're considering dating, you should consider the work that you would have to put into it. So nothing good is just going to work on its own. You have to put in the effort. So it won't work except you make it work. So don't be scared. Okay, it says perfect love casts out fear. Don't be scared. If you're a child of God, especially, you have all of the help you need within the Holy Spirit. So he's going to lead you, and pray about it. Make sure you communicate. If you have a friend that you like already, communicate, right? They're not going to read your mind. So we're friends for a long time, right? And to transition from just friends to dating each other, right? It wasn't just going to happen just like that. We had to communicate, and we had to let each other know how we felt and our various expectations on what a relationship would be. And like I mentioned, you shouldn't just be exclusive with someone to pass time. You should be exclusive if you know that you see marriage, within a reasonable time, and you want to consider if you can get married to this person. All right, so I hope you've learned something, and I hope you've enjoyed this podcast episode. Yes, we can continue this conversation on dating on the blog. You can check the episode notes. There will be a blog link, so you can go over to the blog to drop a comment, or to drop more questions, or to drop your own tip on how you navigate your dating experience. I'll be looking forward to reading from you and also getting feedback. Don't forget to share this podcast and subscribe on your podcast platform if you haven't already. All right, thank you so much again for joining me on today's episode. I wish you all the best in your love life. If you're already dating, I wish you all the best. If you're still looking out for somebody, I wish you all the best. All right, thank you once again. Be good and stay safe.